Let's begin with the 1951 fiscal year budget. With the war breaking out in Korea during the last phases of the 1951 budget negotiations in Congress, there was little time to completely change the budget. This meant that much of 1951 contained budget addendums as the conflict continued. In the end, the final U.S. Navy expenditures for 1951 topped off at $12.5 billion, almost 3.5 times larger than the previous year's budget. Congress approved over $1 billion alone in new ship construction. Contrast that with the previous year budget, where all new ship construction was put on pause. With this new budget, the fleet grew to almost double its size with the previous year. This was done mostly by activating ships from the mothball fleet. 381 ships were activated by April 1951. It grew by 2 battleships, 13 fleet carriers, 2 heavy cruisers, 77 destroyers, 28 destroyer escorts, 13 submarines, 31 minesweepers, 7 patrol vessels, 129 amphibious ships, and 51 auxiliary ships. Manpower swelled to 790,000 personnel as many reservists were called up to fill much-needed positions. 1951. The Korean War continues. February 2nd. The minesweeper USS Partridge strikes a mine while operating near Wonsan, North Korea, sinking with the loss of 8 of her crew killed and 6 wounded. She is the last minesweeper lost during the Korean War. February 16th. The U.S. Navy begins a naval siege of Wonsan, North Korea's principal port, which lasts until the end of the war. The port becomes an important haven for aircraft damaged by enemy fire over North Korea, with helicopters pulling down airmen from the water to fight another day. Starting on March 14th, during the next 5 days, gunfire from the battleship USS Missouri destroys 8 railroad bridges and 7 highway bridges off the west coast of Korea. On March 29th, Carrier Air Group 101, activated just 8 months earlier, is the first all-reserve carrier air group to deploy to Korea. It begins flying combat missions from USS Boxer. April 2nd, the first use of jet aircraft as bombers, F-9F Panthers from VF-191 off the carrier USS Princeton bombed the bridge at Songjin, North Korea. The core of this squadron consists of pilots from the Blue Angels Flight Demonstration Team, which was disbanded for service in the Korean War. May 1st sees one of the most unique aerial operations during the war as 8 Sky Raiders from VA-195 launched torpedo strikes against the Wonchon Dam in North Korea. To this day, Strike Fighter Squadron 195 is nicknamed the Dam Busters. On May 20th, heavy shore batteries at Wonsan fire at the destroyer USS Brinkley Bass and hit the ship, killing 1 and wounding 9 others. They maneuver away without serious damage and return fire. The next day, the battleship USS New Jersey, who is conducting support operations off the coast of Korea, is hit by a shore battery, suffering slight damage with the loss of 1 sailor killed and 3 wounded. They return fire and eliminate the threat. On June 5th, the aircraft of Task Force 77 begin participating with the Air Force in Operation Strangle, tasked with striking 8 supply routes. This operation seeks to interdict the flow of supplies from the enemy. On June 12th, the destroyer USS Walk struck a mine while operating off Hungman. The blast kills 26 members of her crew and wounds 35 others. 2 days later, on June 14th, the minesweeper USS Thompson is hit 14 times by enemy shore batteries off Songjin. 3 sailors are killed and 4 others are wounded. On June 18th, Admiral Robert Carney assumes his duties as the first commander, Allied Commander Southern Europe, NATO. On July 3rd, despite the fact that darkness is approaching, Lieutenant John Kolsch volunteers to attempt a helicopter rescue of a downed Marine pilot. While rescuing the pilot, his helicopter is hit and crashes. The 3 men depart the crash and avoid capture for 9 days. Once captured, Kolsch inspires his fellow prisoners. He dies in captivity, and for his actions in the air and in the POW camp, he is awarded the Medal of Honor posthumously. About a year after the beginning of hostilities in Korea, on July 10th, truce talks begin. The chief United Nations delegate is Vice Admiral Turner Joy, Commander U.S. Naval Forces Far East, and he is joined at the conference table by Rear Admiral Arleigh Burke, Commander Cruiser Division 5. On July 22nd, Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Forrest Sherman suffers a heart attack and dies while visiting Naples, Italy. July 31st sees Secretary of the Navy Francis Matthews forced to resign due to his ties with the policies of Lewis Johnson. He is replaced by Dan Kimball, who becomes the 51st Secretary of the Navy. On August 16th, Admiral William Fetcheller, a battleship skipper and leader of amphibious operations as part of 7th Fleet during World War II, becomes the 13th Chief of Naval Operations. On September 7th, in its first shipboard evaluation, a Terrier missile is fired from the missile test ship Norton Sound and intercepts an F-6F target drone. On September 12th, George Marshall, after serving his country for 49 years, retires from Secretary of Defense. His Undersecretary, Robert Lovett, replaces him. October 3rd, Helicopter Anti-Submarine Squadron 1 is established and is the first use of helicopters in anti-submarine warfare. On October 29th, based on an intelligence report, VF-54 Sky Raiders from the carrier USS Essex attacked the Communist Party headquarters building in Kapsan, North Korea, eliminating more than 500 military and political party officials. On the 6th of November, while conducting weather reconnaissance over the Sea of Japan, a P-2V Neptune, a VP-6, is attacked by Soviet fighter planes and is shot down. All 10 crew members are reported as missing and presumed dead. November 21st, the cruiser USS Los Angeles is detached from Task Force 77 and speeds to the waters off Gojo, North Korea, where she bombards enemy forces threatening to cut off the Republic of Korea First Corps. The naval gunfire is successful in driving the communist troops back. Click here for the next episode of the series. Make sure to subscribe, like, and hit the bell button. This is U.S. military history.